Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that every clock on Earth has disappeared. No phone, no watch, no alarm, no glowing numbers telling you whether it's morning or night. You step outside and see the sun rising. Birds begin to sing. A shadow stretches across the ground. And somehow, without checking a single device, you still know something. The day has begun. But how did humans know the time before clocks existed? How did ancient people know when to start a journey, plant crops, meet others, or return home before darkness? The answer begins with the sky. For most of human history, people didn't ask, "What time is it?" They asked, "Where is the sun?" When light appeared on the horizon, the day had begun. As the sun climbed higher, the world became warmer and brighter. When it reached its highest point, midday was approaching. And when it began to sink, people knew daylight was running out. The sun was humanity's first clock. It had no numbers, hands, gears, or batteries. It simply moved across the sky. But the sun created something even more useful: shadows. In the morning, a tree's shadow stretched across the ground. As the sun climbed higher, the shadow became shorter. Later, as the sun descended, it grew long again. The world itself was measuring time. A hunter didn't need to know it was exactly 4:37 in the afternoon. If the shadows had begun to stretch, he knew darkness was approaching. A farmer didn't need an alarm. The changing light told him when to work. A traveler could look toward the western sky and know the journey needed to end soon. Time was not yet a number. Time was an event. Morning, midday, afternoon, sunset, night. One of the simplest timekeeping tools was just a stick placed upright in the ground. As the sun moved, its shadow moved too. This simple device, known as a gnomon, became one of the earliest steps toward deliberate time measurement. People could mark where the shadow fell, place stones in certain positions, or carve lines into the ground. Slowly, the environment itself became a clock. Some ancient structures were also aligned with the movements of the sun. These may have helped track seasons or important solar events. But astronomy, religion, agriculture, and timekeeping were often connected in the ancient world. The sky told people when the seasons were changing. The seasons told them when to plant. And the sun told them what part of the day they were living in. But the sun had one major weakness. Eventually, it disappeared. So humans looked upward and noticed something extraordinary. The stars moved. Not randomly. Predictably. Certain stars appeared at particular times of the year. Others rose and disappeared in patterns that could be remembered. The night sky was not chaos. It was a schedule. Ancient Egyptian astronomers, for example, observed groups of stars known as decans. As different groups appeared during the night, they could indicate that another portion of the night had passed. The sky became a giant celestial clock. Eventually, people divided the day and night into sections. But these ancient hours were not always equal. A daytime hour in summer could be much longer than one in winter. Ancient people were not trying to create perfectly equal blocks of time. They were simply dividing the natural world into recognizable stages. The sun measured the day. The stars measured the night. But what measured something longer? The moon. The moon may have been humanity's first natural calendar. Its shape changed in a repeating cycle: crescent, half moon, full moon, and then back again. One complete cycle gave people a rough way to understand a month. Several moons could mark a season, and several seasons could mark a year. But the moon did not perfectly match the solar year. The sun, moon, and seasons all followed different rhythms. So ancient societies had to observe them carefully and build calendars to organize life. For farmers, this was a matter of survival. When would the rains arrive? When should seeds be planted? When would animals migrate? When would winter begin? Understanding the movement of the sky could mean the difference between survival and starvation. But eventually, humans wanted a way to measure time without constantly watching the sky. The answer was water. Water clocks, or clepsydras, worked by allowing water to slowly flow into or out of a container. As the water level changed, people could measure how much time had passed. Unlike the sun, water could continue measuring time at night, during rain, or when clouds covered the sky. In ancient Greece, water clocks were even used during legal speeches. As the water flowed, the speaker's time slowly disappeared. Imagine losing an argument because a bowl of water decided your time was over. As civilizations became larger and more complex, accurate timekeeping became more important. Cities needed to organize markets, religious ceremonies, legal proceedings, military activities, and public life. But ancient people still did not always think about time as numbers. They might not say, "It is exactly 6:42. They might say, "The sun is high enough. It is time to leave. The shadows are long. We should return home. The evening star has appeared. The day is ending." Instead of asking, "What time is it?" they often asked, "What is happening now? Has the sun risen? Has the moon appeared? Are the shadows becoming long? Has the season changed?" Time was connected to the world around them. And perhaps that is the biggest difference between ancient time and modern time. Today, time is everywhere. We see it on phones, watches, computers, cars, and screens. Ancient people didn't see time displayed. They observed it. They felt it. They experienced it. Morning was the appearance of light. Midday was the position of the sun. Night was the arrival of darkness and stars. A year was the return of familiar seasons, migrating animals, growing plants, flooding rivers, and changing stars. Ancient timekeeping was not one single invention. First, humans noticed natural rhythms. Then they remembered them. Then they predicted them. Then they marked them. And finally, they built tools to measure them. A shadow became a measurement. A stick became a gnomon. The stars became a night schedule. The moon became a calendar. And water became a clock. Slowly, the invisible flow of time became something humans could organize and measure. But the most remarkable part is that ancient humans never had to invent time. Time was already there. It was in the rising sun, the lengthening shadows, the changing moon, the return of the stars, the migration of animals, and the changing seasons. Humans simply learned how to read it. So the next time you check your phone for the exact time, pause for a moment. Before clocks, watches, calendars, and glowing screens, there was only the world. A human being standing outside, watching the sun rise, watching a shadow move across the ground, and realizing that something invisible was passing. The first clock was the sun. The first night clock was the stars. The first calendar was the moon. And perhaps the first timekeeping technology was simply a human being standing still, watching the universe move. Because long before humans invented clocks, humans learned to watch the universe itself.